Aloha and welcome to the Secret Art of Huna podcast, where I'll be sharing how to use Huna, the carefully guarded spiritual, energetic and healing practices of the ancient Hawaiians, to help you transform those bits of your life that aren't working, to help you find your purpose, or maybe just to help you dump emotional baggage. I'm Dr. Jane Lewis, and 20 years ago I was burnt out, depressed, unfulfilled, disappointed, directionless and deeply, deeply miserable. Huna enabled me to change all that, and so I now share it with whoever wants to experience a more joyful, fulfilling life. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Secret Art of Huna Facebook Live. This is actually the second Facebook Live I've done this morning. The other one was in the Forgiveness Challenge group, which is absolutely motoring along. It's amazing the bravery of people who've been participating in that. And it's given me lots of food for thought. And one of the bits of food for thought that it's given me is the whole question of self-forgiveness. Now, I've spoken about self-forgiveness on other videos and on other occasions, but I wanted to just hone in on a few things today. And the first thing I wanted to hone in on is, now, I'm no Brené Brown. I think the work of Brené Brown is absolutely amazing. I'm not Brené Brown, and my thinking is not necessarily totally her thinking. But for me, there is such a fundamental relationship between shame and self-forgiveness. I find that when I support people in forgiving themselves, then they start to release shame. And when I support them releasing shame, they start to be able to forgive themselves. So I've seen this very close relationship between the two. One of the things I teach is Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono is the Hawaiian forgiveness process, and a lot of people are familiar with it. It comes in different forms, as many versions as there are probably Hawaiian families in the Hawaiian Islands. But Ho'oponopono is very much about forgiving others. Now, arguably, when you forgive somebody else, you do actually forgive yourself. And certainly in the Ho'oponopono that I teach, we say, please forgive me, I forgive you, so that there is a two-way thing with the other person. But it really is focused on the other. And for a lot of people, what I'm seeing in the challenge is that people really need to spend a lot of time with forgiveness of self, particularly where shame is an issue. So what can you do in terms of self-forgiveness? For me, release things like anger against yourself, sadness about things that you haven't done, regret. Regret's a big one. A lot of people have regret and shame kind of tangled up in one another. So I might say, I regret not having done something in my life, but I might also say that I'm ashamed of it. So for a lot of people, regret and shame have this very close interaction. Fear. Some people are ashamed because they're fearful. They haven't done things that they wanted to do because they were fearful, and they're ashamed of the fact that they never did it because they were fearful. So particularly, I see this particularly in my work with careers, that people will come to me and they've got this lifetime of regret because they were afraid to do the very thing that they wanted to do. And they're ashamed of the fact that they never did it when they had the opportunity. Guilt. Guilt is a huge one. Very often, guilt and shame are two sides of the same coin. So when you release guilt, you very often also release shame. And if you're not releasing it, then release the shame about yourself. So really key releases that can help you in terms of getting rid of shame. Another way of getting rid of shame is to look at your limiting beliefs that you have about yourselves. Look at the belief that you have, the beliefs that make you feel ashamed. So I'm ashamed because I'm not good enough. I'm ashamed because I'm not lovable. I'm ashamed because I can't do something. I'm ashamed because I'm not a good friend. I'm ashamed because I'm not a good daughter. I'm not a good enough parent. I'm not a something, or I'm ashamed because I'm too scary. That was one for me for a long time. I was ashamed because I was too scary. So when you release those limiting beliefs, that can help release the shame as well. And it also helps with the self-forgiveness. So for self-forgiveness, releases around the emotions, anger, sadness, fear, guilt, shame, if you need to release shame separately, and letting go of those limiting decisions that you have about yourself, that will really help on the self-forgiveness side. Self-forgiveness has its own challenges anyway, and the psychology industry, the psychology profession, have generally shied away from it. So there's not much written on it. There's loads written on forgiving others, but not much written on forgiving your own personal self and letting go of your own shame. So if you want to know how to do that, I do periodically post little guided meditations and little guided visualizations to help. And I do that in the group, I do that in the Secret Art of Huna for Powerful Transformation group. I also do some stuff in my Secret Art of Huna Pioneers Club group. And I do it at live events. And I've got a live event coming up. If you want to book on it, it's the 23rd, 24th of February. It's in Oxford. It's a 2-day event. And you won't just learn how to release shame and to forgive yourself by doing these release processes. You'll also learn an ancient, carefully guarded technique it's kind of similar to Reiki, but it's older than Reiki. It emerged in the 19th century rather than the early 20th century. And it's got 36 symbols, and it's hugely powerful. But what it does is when you start to use the symbols from that system, when you start to work with that system, that way of moving energy and healing, it really accelerates your ability to do the self-forgiveness piece, to do the releases, to release the emotions, to release the decisions. So 23rd, 24th of February in Oxford. And if you want to check it out, secretartofhuna.com/live will take you there. Otherwise, look forward to seeing you on another Facebook Live. Look forward to seeing you in the Secret Art of Huna for Powerful Transformation group, or at the live event. Take care and have a good self-forgiving day. Bye now. I hope you've enjoyed today's podcast. If you want to bring about rapid transformation in your life, check out secretartofhuna.com, where you can also download a free meditation to help you with self-forgiveness. You can also look out for Secret Art of Huna on social media such as Facebook and LinkedIn. Look forward to talking to you again very soon.